Hi there. Welcome to Tech Thursday series, where we present to you the technical aspects of our activities here at RCoE in our efforts to conserve nature and empower communities. My name is Dennis Mungera. I'm a GIS developer, and I'll be taking you through the technical aspects of how the Mapbook came about. Well, we can call them the behind the scenes. What is the Mapbook? The Mapbook serves as a comprehensive visual and analytical resource, providing key spatial insights into the biodiversity conservation, ecosystem management, and sustainable development across Eastern and Southern Africa. So, with this, we had various teams that were targeting or were looking into getting the Mapbook up and running. So, one of the teams was the data team. So, data was such a key component in our workflow and our systems that we needed to have a streamlined flow of the workflow. So I'm going to take us through the back end scenes of what happened with the data team. So the first thing I will introduce to us was the tool that we're using, the ACTIS Survey 123. So this was a platform that allowed us to create a database, a virtual database for our Mapbook that later fed data into the experience builder that we'll get to talk about in a different video. But in this case, let's talk about the Survey 123. So we had a form that existed for us, and it allowed us to now input data that belonged to the maps. So on the form itself, we had various key components of the form. The map title was one of the key components. We had the map description, which was also another key component as well, and the map category, which focuses on our three main themes of the RCoE, which the biodiversity, the seascape, and the forests. And one of the major component as well was the image and the PDF upload. So I'll take us through also another behind the scenes of how the upload came about to be. So picture this. We needed to have the images stored in an online database where we were able to retrieve them. So we had to figure out a solution. We had to figure out a way how to do it. And our database ended up to be an S3 bucket on AWS. So the AWS hosted for us the images and the PDFs that belong to the maps that are on the Mapbook. But how did this come about? Come with me. So we have a platform that we built called the S3 Upload app. It's a web app that we built that allowed us to upload the maps on the S3 bucket. And among other things, it was able to also optimize the images for us. So on my screen, you can see a simple web app that had a data input and a call to action called the upload file. So we loaded up data on this. In this case, you can see I have a Kenya country mural that I can load up on my data input, and then I'll click on the upload file, which called an API that allowed us to send data to the S3 bucket. So once the data went to the S3 bucket, it would be able to be optimized and converted into a WebP format, which is such a light version for the web. This was a thought process that we had to allow us to have better loading processes, better loading time for our maps on the Mapbook. So now this was such a key component because it presented such a big challenge for us. How? The data upload came about with challenges. One was the data sometimes was too big. So it allowed us to think outside the box on how we are going to exceed and allow an API to upload such huge data. So we rehosted our web app into a local server within our ecosystem. So this allowed us to exceed or amplify the upload limits for our web app. So it was able to now accept even up to 2 gigabytes of data. Remember, we are optimizing the images as well. So we're turning them into WebP formats, which now are loading faster on the web. Now, I've explained how we were able to get the images. Now, we used to come back to now the form itself and input the URLs we're getting from the S3 bucket. So once we put the links there, we'll now be able to submit our data. So once we submitted our data using this form, it created for us our local database within our ecosystem again. So I'm going to show you the database, so which we had over 50 records. And on my screen, you can see the database that had various data of the inputs that I was able to show you earlier. So this was the database that we were using. And on our next video, we're going to see how this data is being linked to the Experience Builder. That's our part 2. But in this case, let's focus on the data input. So once we had our data on the database, now we had another step into now visualize the data on our Experience Builder. But then we realized there was a challenge with loading because the images sometimes were too huge and too big. So now this led us to now think of another solution, which now brought us into another AWS tool that we would like to call the CDN, the Content Delivery Network. So this was such a groundbreaking tool for us, to allowing us to cache the images within where we hosted our services. It allowed us to now load them faster and retrieve them faster from the internet. This made the Mapbook experience much faster and much easier to use. So with this is how our data upload and data ingestion on the Mapbook came about to be. And I hope you'll join us next week as we're going to speak of how we linked the database that I've shown you with the Experience Builder that's allowed us now to visualize the images properly. Thank you.